Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. This your girl Rhonda the Light, as well as your messenger. I just want to give shout outs to my niece Bria, Birdie, the singer, the anointed minister. I just want to say congratulations on your first and not last meeting on today. That was amazing. Tea time, testimony time. That was truly amazing. I am so proud of you and grateful to God that you answered the call, and just overall grateful. Let me say something to you about when they say testimony time. It's talking about your testimony, not the Bible's testimony, not nobody else's testimony, but your testimony. The Bible said that we are won by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of our testimony, our testimony. And so when we go against the grain of what God is telling us to do, nobody gets their freedom. My job is to set the captives free. I know when you know who you are and you know your purpose, you're not moved by other things and how other people do things. But I will say this, that we will be held accountable for not reaching the people that we're supposed to reach, of not presenting ourselves as, being the light and the salt of this earth. We're going to be held accountable for that. And so I just want to encourage her, encourage my niece on this was just the beginning. There is greater works you shall do, and it's things that God is about to do in your life that you have eyes have not seen or ears have not heard. And because you opened the door to allow people to be their authentic self and to speak about their life and to be able to help others and to also bring the word involved. I'll tell people all the time, I know my word, okay, but I also know what the word said, that what we're, the people are won by our testimonies and by the blood of the Lamb. And so you give God all the glory for bringing you out of darkness into the marvelous light, because you are the light and you are the salt of the earth. Part 2 is coming. This your girl Rhonda the Light, as well as your messenger. Never ever get intimidated by anybody else's testimony or whatever that they're doing, because I guarantee you some of the stuff that these people went through, you probably couldn't walk not even a half a mile in their shoes. So I tell people all the time, I'm not a person that I'm happy about the things that I did, but I'm also a person that use those stones as stepping stones to be where I am today, to be able to write about it and to talk about it and to be able to help other people. That didn't have too much to do with Rhonda. What I mean by that, and it may have not made sense to you, but let me say this to you. God brought me through all of that to be a help to somebody else. It had little to do with Rhonda, okay? All the childhood scars, all the betrayal, all that stuff. Let me tell you something. I wish I would keep my mouth closed and shut from people that need to know that the same God that brought me out, the same God that spoke through me and had me to write books about certain things, even write encouraging books, coaching material and so forth and so on, and to go and to speak to different people, go to different complexes and teach and uproot and dismantle things in people's lives. God did not bring me this far for me to sit down on my testimony because maybe it's a little bit too much for some people. That's your problem. And you need to make sure that when you are doing what God is telling you to do, it don't look like everybody else. So stop worrying about when you come on here and you do your lives, and stop trying to be like everybody else. Stop trying to sound like everybody else. Stop trying to present yourself like everybody else. It doesn't matter. God made you uniquely different for a reason. I'm different, and I'm happy that I'm different. I always tell people I am organic. I'm not, you can't find Rhonda anywhere, okay? I'm one in a million, baby. You cannot find me just anywhere. We all have our own thumbprint. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. So whatever God have summoned you to do, whatever he have called you to do, find yourself doing it, and don't worry about nobody else. Don't try to mimic nobody else, because you might just be that person to where you try to walk in somebody else's shoes and you fail because you're trying to be what somebody else is telling you to be. Be your authentic self, okay? Either they gonna like it, love you, or hate you. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Just keep doing what you were summoned and you was called to do. I used to tell people this. It was a time before I actually knew who I was, and when I would get irritated because someone would knew something about me, and they would get up and they would preach about me, versus to, if they didn't have a testimony, just go ahead and preach out the Bible and keep giving the prostitute, Rahab, keep talking about the one. You keep doing all that. That's you. That's on you, okay? Stop worrying about people that, because some of you're afraid to give your testimony, or you're afraid to talk about where God brought you. It's one thing to showcase that you are a millionaire now, that you're doing great, and you got it going on, and see, that's how a lot of churchy and religious people do. Once God have brought them out off the pole, once God have, I said it, off, from doing certain things and living a certain life and creeping and doing all this crazy stuff, once God bring them out, then they dog out other people. That's not why God delivered you out of that. That's not why God healed you. He didn't do that. He did not do that for that reason, for you to talk about everybody else, because maybe you wearing a long skirt now, but at one time you was wearing booty shorts. So I said it, you may have been a person that you was doing everything under the sun, and God did not deliver you for you to talk down on nobody else. And I used to tell people that you can't give my testimony better than me, okay? Because first of all, you weren't there with me, okay? So stop worrying about if you give your testimony, or if you discuss certain things that people gonna talk about you. If you haven't healed, then okay, don't talk about it. If you know that it's gonna affect you later and you're gonna be crying, they talking about me and my testimony, then don't give it. Okay, but at the same time, while God is healing you, and when he's setting you free and delivering you from some things, don't find yourself down talking other people. Okay, today was such a refreshing day for me, because I love atmosphere that's like that, to where you sit around, you have tea time, testimony time. Testimony is your testimony. Okay, but if that's all you have is the Bible, that's fine. However God used you, that's fine. But don't dare throw slugs and play with nobody else, because that's something that you decide to do. Okay, I tell people all the time, and I tell the other young ladies that's new to this, like, I want to say this and I want to say that. Okay, it'll be another time. Just whenever God move on you, it may not be your time to give your testimony. It took me years to get my testimony, because I know a lot of religious people, they couldn't really digest Rhonda. But now I don't care. I don't care, because I'm not meant for you. I'm not meant to be digested. Okay, I'm meant to set the captives free at any cost. Okay, and that's giving Rhonda's truth. I don't care nothing about what other people do. I don't care. Okay, set the captives free. Be the light. Be the salt. That's what you was created for. It's a song that says God created you for purpose, on purpose, for such a time as this. You was created for this. You did not grow through all the stuff that you went through to just keep it to yourself. And now that maybe you have your own business, you have your own ministry, you have your own TV show, radio, whatever that the case may be, that's why I love being around. I tell a lot of people this. I love being around authentic people. I love people like my coach. I love people like my confidant. I love people like folks that are real, folks that are genuine, people that are out there. I'd rather deal with the people out there in the world, because they're just being themselves, no matter what that looks like to you. And they're not hiding it, because they're not trying to impress you. And that's the way you have to be. You're going to have to, in this life, you're going to have to develop some tough skin, to where you're not moved by everything. Okay, that you don't fold up your arms and say, I'm done because they talked about me and this didn't work. No, that's why I encourage these young people that's doing what God is telling them to do. like my niece, my nephew, and different ones that are actually doing the work, that's actually out here doing what God is telling them to do, of course, some things they're not going to understand. That's the part of growth. There's a lot of things I didn't understand, but that's part of the growth. Okay, so don't allow anyone to stop you from doing what God has called you to do, because you're going to be held accountable. You're going to be held accountable for what you did not do. Okay, the things that you did not say, because somebody's blood is going to be on your hands because you was too afraid to tell somebody where he delivered you from. I used to tell the women all the time, stop talking about these girls that stay fast and they this, they that, if you're not going to get to the root, because truth be told, you know, you had a lot of people climbing in and out of your window too. You did it in a discreet way. So stop talking about these. Stop talking about these men and they did this and they did that when you was doing probably worse. You know, if you're going to do anything, you help them. Tell them where God brought you from. And then that way it'll help them. Okay? Just be the light. Just be the light. Just be the light. Okay? Everybody that know Rhonda, that really know Rhonda, they even know the nicknames, they know. Nobody but God. Nobody but God changed her life. No man or woman would get the glory, would get the victory. I give credit to those that was a part, that was a blessing to me, but nobody gets God's glory. Not one, not even me. So God get all the glory. I pray that you get healed, because that is your portion.